Hello.
They probably just heard every bit of this chair squeak.
Probably. Oh well.
I'm not in my normal chair. We'll talk about it here in a second.
Hello.
Is all you're gonna give me?
No, you got to press X for more dialogue.
X.
Welcome back to the Secret Dungeon Podcast. I'm your host, Cheney, and with me, as always, Corey. Press X for more dialogue.
Yeah, you gotta press X.
Oh, I got. Well, do I have a choice? Is it like 3 choices?
You can leave. That's always a choice.
I can always press B.
You can always press B and leave.
Okay. I'm gonna press X.
Hello.
And we continue. Hello, everybody. How you doing? Come on in and sit down. Do a little Papa Meat intro.
Yeah, we totally didn't skip last week. Honestly, we really didn't have much of a choice.
Yeah. For people who don't know, which none of you know.
Also, the same reason why I'm not in my normal chair too. So.
Yeah. So, our church is putting on a Easter play production, and Corey's chair's at the church.
Yeah, my chair. I'm using it. I'm playing in the band because it's mostly music, and I'm playing bass in the band, and so I brought my computer chair from here at the studio over there because it's a really, really comfortable chair, and now I'm using our boy Alex's chair.
Shout out to Alex for taking advantage of his chair.
Yeah, I mean, if I was a normal-sized man, which I'm not, I'm quite fat. This chair would be really comfortable.
I don't know, man. You've lost a lot of weight. I wouldn't say you're fat. I mean, you big, but you ain't fat.
I'm not as big as I used to be, but I'm still pretty big.
You're more muscular, though. I mean, you got more muscle than fat. No, I'm being dead serious. You got more muscle than fat.
I'm built like a Goron.
Pretty much. Yeah, you're essentially a human Goron.
That's the goal, baby.
Which, I mean, that's that's more of a compliment than anything, really.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say you're fat. That's degrading. Let's not do that.
So yeah, that's also why we didn't really get a chance to put one out last week. And we usually like to put them out Thursday morning, and we record them earlier in the week, just whenever we have a chance to, which is usually whenever.
Yeah.
But there's no set schedule about whenever we get together to record.
Yeah.
And today happened to be the only free day we had this week as far as afternoons.
Right.
From the Easter play, because the actual play is tomorrow night, and so this is literally going to be uploaded as soon as we're done with it.
Yeah, which is fine. It'll be all right. I mean,
yeah, because
at least you guys are getting a live episode kind of today.
No, is that a phone call? Do I need to stop it?
It's just an alarm.
Okay, all right,
we're good. We're good.
Going. We'll keep going. No
man,
panic.
look at that wavelength.
That waveform looks ridiculous.
It's like womp. I like it. Let's keep it.
But yeah, I was thinking about something a little bit earlier. I was watching some people do a podcast, and they were doing it like over Discord. And then the friends that we have in the industry used to do a podcast over Discord, and we were a part of it. It's called Geeks Camp, but they don't really do it anymore.
Yeah.
And they did it over Discord as well.
Right.
And I was like, we could actually just start doing like video podcasts over Discord. And I was just like, because my initial thought was, more people would probably watch it then, and you probably get more views. And I'm like, well, then it becomes about the views and not about having
the content.
fun. You know what I'm saying? And so then I'm like, no, I don't think we will.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm like,
we could do a voice only Discord podcast episode.
Yeah. Well, use Discord to record the video.
Right.
Because, we got the setup. We got everything to do it here. And honestly, we could leave it set up. But at the same time, it's like,
I wouldn't want to do it for every episode.
No, I don't really know that I want to do it at all.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm in full pajama mode right now. Like, my shirt has holes all in this mug.
You look like you've been shot by a bunch of BBs.
I do. I look like I've been shot by a shotgun, no joke. Because the shirt's just, like, so old. And, dude, it's, like, one of the most comfortable shirts I have.
Hey, those are the best.
I didn't have to work today because we just got off today because we're not supposed to be doing anything till tomorrow.
Right.
And we got done with something that we had to do early. And so they're like, y'all just take tomorrow off. And we're like, sick.
Yeah.
So free night from play practice and then free day from work. So I've been in full lounge mode today.
Yeah, that's nice though. You need to rest.
So,
because you're gonna be thumping bass for the next 2 days.
Slap it the bass,
slap it.
You know, going from like playing guitar and then drums, I'm trying to complete all the side quests for gospel bands.
Yeah.
All I got to do now is just try to do piano. And then I'm good.
Well,
that's a joke.
No.
I'm not going to do
After
piano.
that, to truly ascend, you got to sing bass.
Sing bass?
Yeah.
I mean, I've sang before.
I mean, if you got the voice, do tenor.
No, I don't want to do that.
Daddy sang tenor.
Daddy sang tenor.
Yeah, Mama sang bass.
So here recently, I've been watching a lot of people play Dark Souls 1 for the first time. Dark Souls 1 and 2.
Yeah.
There's this video of a guy that I've been watching who he makes his dad, who's 69 years old,
nice,
play Dark Souls 1 as his very first video game ever.
Ouch.
Yeah.
I bet he hates it and loves it.
Well, see, the thing is like he didn't understand how to move his character, move the camera or anything like that, and he's I think like 30 hours in, and he's beat the Belfry gargoyles.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think it's just the Bell gargoyles. I think it's called the Belfry gargoyles.
Yeah, I think it is too.
And then
because they're technically in the Belfry Tower or whatever.
Yeah, and so tandem that or connect that to what I really wanted to talk about was one of our buddies asked us a question today. What was our favorite Dark Souls or Souls boss?
Yeah.
And I didn't quite understand the question at first, and I thought he was talking about what our favorite Souls game was.
Mm-hmm.
I got to really thinking about it, and I'm like, I think it's Dark Souls 1.
For you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a classic for sure.
Like, it's a mess, but it's a beautiful mess.
I think Dark Souls is very ambitious for what it is.
Yeah.
For, because before that, there's only a handful of From Software games that kind of... There's some out there. I mean, you got like the Otogi series, which is so obscure to most people.
Otogi, what is that?
It's a From Software game made on the Xbox.
What is it about?
Killing demons.
Maybe I have seen it. Is it more like almost cyberpunk, but not really?
It's like ancient Japan.
That's not a FromSoft game, is it?
Yeah.
That is FromSoft? Are you sure?
It's on here.
I'm thinking Onimashi.
Onimashi, yeah.
Oh, that's like a survival horror. That's what I'm thinking.
That's not FromSoft. No, Otogi, weirdly enough, made by FromSoft.
And believe it or not, Sekiro is actually a sequel.
To what?
Sekiro.
Oh yeah, Sekiro is a sequel.
Yeah.
But I don't know the original game. So
yeah, I don't either, but I've heard that it's actually like that it's a sequel. You know, like the Kingsfield games, you always hear myths talking about those and whatnot. I never really had a chance to play Kingsfield. I don't think that's more my jam.
Well, you got Demon Souls too.
Yeah.
Which is technically the predecessor to the Dark Souls series.
Yeah, because that's the one that Miyazaki really first
got into.
Like, got his hands into
stuff.
You know, because like people talk about Kingsfield like being a FromSoft game, and it's like, yeah, but the main artist, the director, is Miyazaki, and he didn't start till Demon Souls.
Correct.
And so people talk
he
about... He
may have had his hand in Otogi, I'm not sure, but...
it's possible, but not as a director.
The first Otogi, it's just like a game. But Otogi 2 is where you see like, oh, this is like really Dark Souls-y.
Yeah.
Like really Dark Souls-y.
When did it come out?
Oof, early 2000s.
It's possible then, because I know that Demon Souls came out on PlayStation 3. Let me look this up.
Yeah.
Banter while I look this up.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Dark Souls is my favorite game. It's definitely got some memorable moments, and it's really cool how a lot of the side quests, like interfere with the main quests and blah blah blah.
Demon Souls originally came out in 2009.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then what is this other one? Otogi?
Otogi, Otogi.
OT.
Myth of Demons.
Yeah, there it is right there. 2002.
Yeah, I knew it was pretty early.
It has a you can tell it has a definite vibe to it.
It's got a From Software vibe to it.
Which is kind of weird. I want to say I've actually
Those are
seen
very
this.
obscure games, dude.
I want to say I've seen that cover before.
You probably have.
That resonates somewhere with me, but I don't know if Miyazaki was a part of that.
That I don't know. I don't know about that one. I'm
because
actually
that came out, like I said, in 2002, and 2009 was whenever Miyazaki stepped in to help Demon Souls.
right.
And it was more so like the game was already kind of a mess, and
Yeah.
so they were like, he just suggested, hey, let me just try it.
Let a brother cook,
Yeah, let me just try it and see if I can do something with it. And they were like, sure, whatever.
and he didn't.
And he did it, and they were like, all right, what else you got? And then
Yeah.
now he's the golden child of
From
software.
Yeah, it's got me. Otagi's got me considering getting an original Xbox.
How would you procure a copy of Otagi though? What's that?
A little Dark Souls laugh. You know, like those weird. They don't. No one actually talks in those games. They just give like weird laughs or hums or whatever. Anyway, probably have to buy it the old school way. eBay, baby.
Find it on eBay.
Yeah.
That's the same place I finally found the Dark Souls RPG.
Believe it or not, Otagi 2 is the more expensive game.
Really?
Yeah,
Huh.
it's very expensive.
Did they both come out on the original Xbox?
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep. I'm planning on playing them both.
What's really
I
interesting
haven't emulated
to me,
on my PC, but it doesn't emulate well.
Mm.
Indeed.
I find that really interesting that a Japanese company made an Xbox exclusive game.
Yeah.
Typically, you see Japanese game developers go exclusively Nintendo or exclusively PlayStation.
Yeah.
And then even with Bloodborne, that's exclusively PlayStation.
Yeah.
And that kind of brings up something else is since we last got to record, Nintendo had their Direct.
I have not watched it. I like to stay in the dark. But go ahead and lay it on me, baby.
I went from being super excited to not excited at all about the new FromSoft game.
Oh, is it Dustblood?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's kind of a disappointment. I'm
Yeah.
still going to get a Switch 2 because there's still like Nintendo games I care about and, and IPs I want to play. But
everybody's complaining about the Switch too, and we're not the kind of like Nintendo fanboys where we're going to defend Nintendo out the wazoo.
No, they have flaws.
I feel like $450 is a pretty fair price point.
Well, that's like I said on last episode. I think Nintendo should charge more, and they did.
Yeah,
Good for them.
But then they started charging more for the games too, and then a lot of people had an issue with that.
I'm not going to complain about that. That's just part of the deal. Get over it. But because like, here's the thing. We can complain about the price, but somebody has to pay the bills, and somebody has to eat. Somebody has to pay rent.
Yeah.
And if you really care and you really like these IPs, like these people claim, quit complaining about it. Somebody's got to eat. Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
If you was working on a game,
Yep.
and it was, for Nintendo, and it was a big deal,
Yeah.
you'd want to get paid from it, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Exactly. So,
But it really depends on, are there bonuses based off of sales, or does that just the C-suite gets that?
I don't know.
Because if that's the case, then I don't want to pay more.
I get that.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
And here's another thing. I would be willing to pay more if there were no season passes, battle passes, or microtransactions.
Yeah, let's kind of get rid of all that, please.
But the thing is that it won't. That won't go away.
Well, as I always said last time, you got NPCs out here who still pay for that crap for some unknown reason.
That kind of thing, whenever it comes to like the price of games, like how they're manufactured and how they price them and who makes the money on the front end, who makes the money on the back end, all that kind of stuff. It takes years to develop a game.
It does.
And for an independent developer, if they're going to do it, that means that they're paying this out of their own pocket to be able to stay afloat, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're a part of a big company, we'll just use Nintendo as the going example, and your money comes from your sales from your previous game or from an allowance that they give you to live off of for like budget reasons, right? To be able to pay your people and, you know, the hours that it costs for you to be able to make this thing and all that nice fun stuff, depending upon how they pay their people, right? But as I was saying, if you're an independent developer, there's less hands in the pot, you know. And this is going to go into another thing that I wanted to talk about. There's less hands in the pot.
Correct.
And there's more money to be made for the developers, and they can choose to go several different ways with it. They can either just take their money, be happy with what they created, and then just move on with their lives.
Yeah.
Or they can try to bank that money, go full-time doing this, put more care into their next project, and be able to live off of it, right?
Right.
And so for like paying money to independent creators is more important as opposed to these bigger companies, because these bigger companies, when you have more hands in the pot, there's a lot of do-nothing jobs.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of I really hate to even say do nothing jobs, but we all know that there really are. And if they're wanting to make sure that everybody can still eat, then the price is just going to keep going up, you know?
They are, but at the same time, you have to consider your customer and what they can afford.
That is extremely true.
And the reason I'm kind of like not really gonna bite and complain about Nintendo raising their price $10 for a game.
Yeah,
it's $10.
I'm not gonna buy.
Now, if it was 20, I probably would be a little upset about that one.
In some cases, they are 20. Actually, no, Cheney. In some cases, it's 80 and 90.
Yeah, I mean,
it depends on the game to me, though.
Yeah,
and how excited I am for it.
It's like people are probably gonna pay $100 for GTA 6.
Yeah,
I think that's insane. A game is not worth that much.
No,
it's not. Y'all waited a long time, sure,
yeah.
and you're hyped about it and you're excited, and that's good and all, but is it worth $100?
To me, like back in the day, they used to do these things called pre-orders.
Yeah,
and I put a dramatic pause in there for a reason.
Right.
Where you would get stuff for pre-ordering a game.
Now they don't really.
Now they don't even give you anything. They give you like a deluxe edition, and
it's got digital stuff
and
with
it's
it.
crap.
Yeah,
like most of the stuff, it's just crap. You know what I mean? I'm like,
you get an extra skin.
I want Master Chief's helmet. I want a statue of Alduin. You know what I'm saying? Like
that stuff was sick.
That stuff was cool.
You got
made you want to do it.
Yeah. But I imagine it. I mean, at the same time, like you're paying that like a lot of money, over $100 for those deluxe editions, but you're getting your bang for your buck.
Yeah, like you're actually getting something tangible and physical out of it.
Yeah.
You know, and now I know this seems to be like a common topic that me and you talk about, but it's just something that we're very, very passionate about. Is that physical media matters more than digital?
Yeah.
And to me, whenever you own something physically. No one can take that from you.
Mm-mm.
And if you own something digitally, you're paying for a license to be able to play the game for as long as they allow you to have that license.
Yeah.
And that's not...
You're at their mercy.
You're at their mercy if you buy it digitally, you know? And I know that that's kind of hypocritical for me to also play PC. Because if Steam goes down, my entire library is gone.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. I don't like that fact.
That's kind of why I'm moving away from PC.
Yeah, I would like to, but you know,
it's hard.
Money's a thing.
It's hard to,
especially in this economy.
At the same time, you know, if you look at it the way like my brother looks at it, if you invest in older consoles and older games and you take care of that stuff, it lasts forever.
Especially the older Nintendo stuff. They last for a hot minute.
Yeah. And it's a hot commodity. If you ever get sick and tired of it years down the road, guess what? It's going to be worth a lot of money.
It's like a lot of the like the tariff stuff that's going on right now.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get into the super financials and then the super politicalness of it. But it's not, as far as I know, it's not really going to affect us much at all. All of our stuff is made domestically.
Right.
And we're even looking into being able to make all of our stuff in-house. But we've been looking at that since before the tariff stuff.
Yeah.
But what I really wanted to talk about was the price point that a lot of these tabletop games go after.
Oh, yeah.
This is something that I kind of mentioned to you, and I was watching something. They call it something. It's it's like a business practice. I don't know exactly what it's called. I don't remember anymore. But there's an actual business practice, and it's called the something something. I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
but
I'm sure
it's
you
where
business nerds already know what we're saying.
Yeah, you probably know what I'm talking about. But this is not for tabletop. This is for
Everything.
Is that they charge 5 to 6 times the price of the good.
Yeah.
The price that it is to manufacture the good. So if it costs them $5 to make the thing, they're going to charge you
15, 20.
Well, at least 25.
Yeah.
Because 5 times 5 is 25.
Yeah, yeah.
And then in some cases, they're going to go even higher than that.
Oh, yeah.
And
D&D,
so
we're
you
looking
look
at you.
oh yeah, D&D went up to like $60-$70 for the books.
Yeah, how are they faring?
And the thing is like your stuff's too expensive.
Yeah.
It's just far too expensive, and it's it's too expensive because you got too many hands in the pot.
Well, it goes back to what I said earlier about I think a big thing about marketing your product is you have to consider, you have to put yourself in the shoes of the consumer. Can I afford this?
Yeah.
I think that's really smart to look at it that way.
Yeah.
It may not be a normal business practice, and, it may sound like you're considering, look, you want to make sales or not, make it affordable.
Yeah.
If you want to sell, make it affordable.
Make it affordable. And that's something that like me and you has always tried to think whenever we, talked about our price points.
I mean, I'm not trying to be gracious to our customer, but at the same time I am. You kind of have to be.
Yeah, because I'm also a consumer.
I am also a consumer.
And I don't like paying high prices for stuff.
I'm not going to.
And no, I'm actually, the answer is I'm not.
Yeah.
You're right. You just said it. I'm not paying high prices for stuff. I would rather buy a game that I'm going to get the same amount of value out of for $20, $30 cheaper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And say like look at the new D&D stuff. If I was not a tabletop creator and we just still played D&D and we did other stuff, in this studio, and we still played tabletop and we played D&D in this studio, you know what I still would not buy?
The D&D books.
D&D 2024.
Yeah.
And that's even if I didn't know about the OGL. I didn't know about all the stuff that they had been doing and all that stuff because I don't need it.
Yeah, you really don't need it when you can go buy like old modules for what, 20, 30, $40.
Well, see, the thing is you buy those 3 books, the 5e3 books, we can play for the rest of our lives and never have to buy another thing.
Yeah, but they try to make you feel like you need this other stuff.
Yeah, oh yeah, because
guess what? It's fluff. You don't need it.
It's just fluff. You don't need it. And the thing is that the fact of the matter is that's the same case with the stuff that we make. You don't need that stuff.
No.
You can play with if you have a core guide to any tabletop game, most of the time you do not need anything else.
Mm-mm.
And that's where tabletop really has an issue with like all these other creators and whatnot. Me and you, we're lucky. We're blessed. We can make nearly every single thing in here in-house by ourselves.
Which is nice.
Not many people can do. That's actually a supreme rarity.
Yeah.
And that's why I say that we're blessed that we're able to do all that stuff.
Because we also have the knowledge on how to do it.
Because we also have the knowledge on how to do all that stuff. And then you look at these other companies, and then they're getting hit with this tariff stuff. They're already spending so much money just to get the thing produced, where their costs will be nearly like down to only 10 to 20% of what they paid if they were able to handle everything in-house. Because the production of these things, if you're not able to do it yourself, art is going to kill you.
Oh yeah.
Art will absolutely kill you. Me and you went through and figured up all the money that we spent on art for the first book.
Yeah.
And it was insane.
It was.
It was absolutely insane. And if you thought about it in fact of making our money back from our first Kickstarter to how much we spent into it, the answer is we didn't. We didn't make our money back at all.
No.
Because art is that expensive. And then, people harped at us for having AI art in there. And it was like, we're two dudes and we're new and we're just trying to get something made.
Yeah.
And everyone was just like, AI art. And it's like, shut up. I mean, honestly, just shut up.
Yeah.
We're not Watsy. We're doing the best we can.
I mean, that's how people perceive things. It's like you have to have this AAA. What people want is this triple grade A quality stuff for little to nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, buddy. It don't work that way. That's not how the world works.
It don't work that way. If you want to,
that's why I hate internet warriors.
If you want to have super premium art, and you want to have, and I'm not saying that our stuff that we put out isn't good, but the thing is that there's much better artists than we are.
Yeah.
And even people that we have paid to be in our own books are much better artists than we are.
By a long shot.
A person who plays in our tabletop group is a better artist than we are.
By a long shot.
She's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But the thing is that you pay an artist, you got to pay a lot of money.
Yeah.
And the thing is that they're worth it.
They are.
I'll say this: they are worth it. The artists are worth it because they're amazing.
Yeah.
And I don't think that, for one, and I don't care to get crucified over this, people can just, the internet's not a real place. You can get over it.
Thank you.
There's no problem with AI art. I don't have any issue with people having AI art in their stuff, other than it doesn't look as good. It don't look as clean.
Yeah.
But if that's what you need to do to be able to put out the thing that you put out because it's too much money to pay for an artist, I understand, because I've been there.
I understand. And also at the same time, I would say this: if it better be good.
Yeah.
It better be a smack out game.
Yeah, and then the thing is like, all right, so if you have a problem with the way that the game looks, how does it play?
Yeah.
How does it play? Because then you're buying shelf candy and you're not buying the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that bothers me too. It's like, why don't you just play it and then decide what you feel about it?
Yeah, then judge it for its art and its layout and its everything else.
But
most people, I hate saying this, but most of the tabletop sphere, y'all, oh my gosh, y'all freaking infuriate me. And I don't give a rip. Internet ain't a real place.
Yeah.
Y'all be buying stuff. Oh man, this is cool. This is cool. This is cool.
Yeah.
But y'all won't even play it. You won't even attempt.
It.
You won't even attempt to get together to play. You forget about it as soon as you leave the con.
Yeah.
And you throw it in your back seat and you drive home. Oh yeah, crap! I forgot. I got this.
Yeah.
And you sit on your shelf and you won't play it, but you complain about somebody else putting AI art in their book.
Yeah. And
you want the world, but you don't want to pay the price.
Yeah.
Get over it.
And then
grow up.
Whenever people buy these games, and we're one of those games, whenever people buy these things and they want to just look at it and flip through the art and be inspired by the art, buy a comic book.
Or buy a piece of art.
Buy a piece of art. Or
buy
something.
A poster.
It's like, I made this for you to play.
I didn't make this for you to look at.
I feel like we're talking in circles over the course of many different episodes, but the fact of the matter is that whenever I go to purchase a game,
I want to play it.
I would like to actually play it. If I'm not buying it to play it, I'm buying to learn from it.
Yeah.
How did they do this? How did they do this?
How did they handle this?
How did they handle this? Oftentimes it's to have inspiration for layout and whatnot.
Yeah.
And
but at the same time, like, we are hardcore creators.
Yeah.
And we buy stuff for research.
And then, you look at that same exact problem, right? The problem of people buying stuff and not playing it.
Yeah.
Where can that, let's zoom out on that argument just a little bit. And the problem is that in the indie tabletop sphere, in that space, Most of the people that want to play these things are GMs. And
Yeah.
that's like, I think maybe 20% of the game populace is game masters, and they end up spending like 80% of the money.
They're
you know?
whales.
Yeah, they're the whales, you know. And so you look at these games, you know, like the Fantasy Heartbreakers. We talked about that last time.
Yeah.
You look at these games and you're like, why aren't people playing these things? It's because whenever you bring it back to your table, you know, one or two people may be interested, but your full table may not be interested, and your interests are more in being able to play something than playing nothing.
Yeah.
And if you switch to a new game system and 3 out of 5 of your players don't want to play it, it sounds like you're not playing that game.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's a big contributor to that problem, because I wouldn't doubt that a lot of people buy these games with the intent to play them.
Sure.
You know, like I'll buy Mothership and Mothership stuff with the intent to be able to play it sometime.
And we have played Mothership.
And we played
at least
Mothership
twice.
I would love to run Gradient Descent as a campaign for Mothership, and I feel like our players will be down to do it.
Oh yeah.
It's just the the time to be able to get to it.
We're also blessed in the fact that our personal studio table of players are pretty open-minded.
Yeah,
They're compared to everybody else.
Yeah.
They're very open-minded.
Yeah,
They're kind of down. Like, hey, they just want to roll some dice. They want to play.
yeah, they're just down to play. You know.
Yeah, if the mechanics are good, they're down.
Yeah,
And I think we accidentally. I'm going to toot my own horn because I don't give a rip. Y'all caught me in a bad day. No, I'm just kidding. We've kind of spoiled our players with Realms because it's so stinking easy to play.
Yeah.
You need one dice.
So therefore, they're not afraid to try other stuff.
Yeah, they're like, okay, well, if these guys could come up with this, what else is out there?
Yeah.
And it gives them that open mind.
Because if your
We did a good job.
If your frame of reference is only D&D, then what you're worried about is the learning curve to learn a new game. You know, we sat down and we played Daisy Chainsaw, which is unlike anything we've played before. And then by the end of the first or second session, we pretty much had a grasp on how
it works.
Now we've had to take a break because all of us are in the Easter play,
Literally.
and so here in a week or two, we're going to get back to playing. And we're going to have to relearn that system.
Yeah.
But it won't be too long to do.
It won't be as bad.
It won't be as bad because it's not a super complicated system and whatnot. And
I guess that if anybody is a creator and they are listening to this and they're like, well, I want to make my own tabletop game, guess what, buddy? Make your learning curve extremely low.
Yeah.
And that be your selling point.
If you can figure out how to put the crunchiness, because people like crunchy games.
They do.
And I'm cool with that. I'm cool with the crunchy game.
If you like crunchy, go for it.
But I want my crunchy to be on the back end instead of at the very beginning, to where my learning curve to my barrier to entry is as low as possible.
We have a term for that. Crispy.
Crispy.
We like crispy.
I like crispy games.
Crispy games are good games.
Yeah, crunchy games are.
Look, man. The reality is you're sacrificing time to play.
Yeah.
The crunchiness, sure, if you like it and you got a dedicated table that loves crunchy and wants to go crunchy, more power to you. I'm not fighting y'all. I'm not even talking to y'all.
I'll even go as far as to say this. The problem may not necessarily be that games are too crunchy. The problem may actually be that games are not explained well in their guides.
That's true too.
That could be exceptionally.
The writing has to be plain.
Has to be extremely plain. You need to be able to sit it in front of your grandma, and she can figure out how to play it
within a few minutes. Like I said, keep the learning curve low.
Yeah. If I can explain to you how to play the game in less than a minute, and you pretty much get it,
then you can start adding layers.
Then you can start adding layers as you go. And
once again, crispy, baby.
Yeah, crispy. You know, you want that crunch to be on the back end, and that creates a crispy game, because then, like, the deeper that you get into it, and like I said, I'm trying to articulate this. I'm sorry. The deeper that you get into the game, the more that you realize that, hey, there's more for me here in this one specific thing. But I've already learned the base mechanics of it. My foundation is there.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, circle back to Dark Souls. You start playing the very first Dark Souls game and you wake up in the Undead Asylum.
Yeah.
The controls of the game are exceptionally simple.
Yep.
It's move, dodge, hit,
Yep.
shield.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
And you don't do, and lock on. You can lock on.
Yeah. Pretty simple.
You press one button and you heal.
I would say Dark Souls, as far as video games, is like the perfect crispy game out there.
Yeah, because as you begin to go more and more into the game,
it gets crunchier
that
and crunchier.
base knowledge of what you need
Grows.
it slowly grows over time. And the thing is that the system that the game works on, and I'm talking about like the level progression system and the combat system, is actually very complex.
Yeah.
But it eases you into it very slowly and then allows you a chance to respec later on in the game around a time that that you're more understanding of what's going on.
I'm going to make a metaphor.
Okay.
And the kind of dumb it down for everybody. Think of a biscuit.
Yeah.
And for you non-Southerners, just Google it. But seriously, you want a biscuit to be perfectly crispy and golden.
Yeah.
You don't want it too mushy and too simple.
Mm-mm.
Looking at Powered by the Apocalypse system, I feel like that's too mushy.
You know, supposedly that's just the Avatar Legends system.
That game is too mushy.
Supposedly Dungeon World, which also runs off of
Powered by
the Apocalypse,
ain't that bad?
it actually has stats and health and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. Well,
And so,
in my reference, the Avatar Last Airbender tabletop game is too mushy.
yeah,
It's way too mushy.
it's like
you don't
soup.
want a mushy biscuit.
It's like soup.
It's like a really doughy biscuit.
Yeah.
Not good. Not cooked all the way.
Yeah.
You also don't want to burn your biscuit D&D and have a brick.
Right.
You want that sweet in between, that gold, crispy, nice fluff
You
in
want
the middle.
that. You want that Mortboard. You want that Mothership. You want that Shadow Dark. You know what I mean?
Realms of Elgrain.
You want that
I don't
Realms of
care to
Elgrain.
plug it. I
What?
don't give a rip no more.
If they're here, they know.
If they're here, they know.
But
We tried our best to make Realms of Elgrain the perfect biscuit.
yeah,
And I feel like, sorry, because I play all these other games.
yeah,
Dude, I see it. I'm
Yeah.
not blind. I'm not dumb.
yeah,
And we did a really stinking good job. It's the learning curve extremely low. On
Yeah.
the back end, it's crunchy.
yeah.
That's just how Realms is. That's how we
Yeah.
designed it.
Well, I mean, you got to look at it from an outside perspective, looking at us saying that. The fact of the matter is we made a game that we wanted to play.
Yeah.
And then when we originally made Realms, we didn't know that we were making it.
We didn't know we was
We
making
didn't know we
perfect
was making
biscuit.
it. Well, we didn't know we was making it too soft at first, and then when
Yeah.
we revamped the system, we're like, okay, now that we know more what we want to do,
Yeah.
now it's like, all right, we're cooking.
But we also played other games. We
Yeah.
took the time and sacrificed our time to give other games a chance
yeah,
and give them a go and look at and really study on what we were playing.
mm-hmm.
You know?
It's not. I don't want to say it's not that hard. I had thought about doing a YouTube video, or at least a video series, talking about how to be able to make your own RPG games for the cheap.
Yeah.
And this is even without art, because I know ways you can make it without
With
having
like minimal art.
without having to do AI art or draw your own art.
Yeah.
Theoretically, I know how to make a game for $20 entirely, right? And that $20 is your layout application. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are ways you can get art for either free or next to nothing, and it worked just fine.
Now, that's probably to go to say it's going to take some legwork. You're going to have to work.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're absolutely, you're gonna have to work for it. It's not
Yeah.
gonna be, like I said,
It's
I
not
thought
going to
about
be handed
doing
to
it.
you. You gotta plan, think,
Yeah.
strategize, research. All of that matters.
But the biggest bit of advice that I could give to somebody who's like, I want to make my own something,
Do it for one.
just do it. Because we've made several things, me and you have.
Yeah.
Realms and Extinction are not our only games that we've ever made.
No.
They're the only games we've ever released.
Yeah.
No, we've released two micro games for a game jam.
Yeah.
But that was more so just because it was fun.
Yeah.
But those 4 things are not the only thing me and you have ever developed.
Right.
They're just the 4 things that we've released, right?
Yeah.
Whenever you from a creator to a hopeful creator, this is my advice. Finish the first thing.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes to get the thing finished,
Finish
it. Because for one, you're going to sit here and you're going to look at this thing and it's going to be your baby.
Yep.
But I promise, as soon as you're done with it,
Something else is
and
gonna come along.
and you step back at it, you look at it, you appreciate it, you're going to have other ideas.
Yep.
And then that next idea is going to be better than what you thought was your absolute baby.
It's very similar to how YouTubers, because I hear YouTubers talk about this all the time,
Yeah.
they hate their old videos.
Oh, yeah.
Because they watch them and they go, well, I could have done this better. I could have done that better.
Yeah.
And that's because
I
they
hate the old Realm system.
I hate the old Realm system.
Yeah.
But that's because
At first, when we made it, it was our baby. And now I'm
Right.
just like, I don't like it no more.
Yeah, but we finished it and explored other things and have been
Yeah.
inspired by other things. And now it's like, okay, well, I'd rather tinker it this way, and I'd rather
Yeah.
pull it that way, and I'd rather stretch it this way. And
Yeah.
it's at first, when I was writing for Realms, like creating the world and all that stuff, I was like, there ain't no way I'm going to be able to top all this. But I think it was you that said something about, no, we'll finish it. Something else will come along. And I was like, there ain't no way.
Yeah.
Dude, now there's like stuff I want to write so bad.
Yeah.
And I want to put out so bad that I think would be way better than Realms.
Well, see,
As far as like my work goes.
whenever
Realms is good, but
Right.
I feel like I have more ideas that are more articulated, more polished, more
right.
energized.
So whenever you create something, a lot of times people get stuck like in that beginning to midway point,
Yeah.
and then they just abandon the project altogether.
Yeah.
I know I've done it.
We all have.
We all have many a times.
Yep.
Whenever I say the words, just finish it. The reason being is that I wrote a book one time.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And it was not my first attempt at writing a book, and I'll even be honest with you, it's not my last attempt at writing a book.
Thank God.
Because whenever I wrote this story, I'm like, I'm just going to keep powering through, and I want to finish it just that way I can say that I wrote a book.
Right.
Whenever I got done with it, this story, as I was writing it, was my baby, was my bread and butter.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
This is what I'm like, this is my, at the time I was like, this is my claim to fame. This is going to be, whatever. And then after I finished it, I started writing another one, and I let somebody read it, and they said immediately that it was better than the first thing.
Yeah.
Which the story from that book is finished, but I'm not entirely sure. Like, I don't want to release it, not from like embarrassment of it. I'm proud of that story,
Right. You finished something.
because I finished something.
Yeah.
Are there things that I would do better if I were to rewrite it? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Are there things that I would change? Absolutely. But the curse of the artist is you're never going to be satisfied with what you put out and what
It's a
you
journey.
finish. It's a journey. And the thing is like if you get stuck on this one thing and try to perfect this one thing,
You'll never
progress. And I'm
yeah.
like, you need to finish it, because what happens whenever you finish a thing, you will learn more from the completion of a project than you will from trying to perfect that project.
Also, a little bit of advice to writers, artists, literally anybody.
Yeah.
Be ready to take some criticism, and
Oh yeah. Be prepared for it to hurt.
it's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
It's gonna hurt. There's criticisms about Realms that originally hurt,
Yeah.
and like it really hurt my feelings. But here's the thing. Not saying I'm just some great something or another, but I was able to really sit down after a while and go, why am I hurt over this? Is it because they're right? Or is it because they didn't understand it?
Yeah.
Is it because I didn't articulate it well enough? What reason what did I do to cause them to have that reaction to it or have that comment about it or whatever? You really got to, and honestly, and it's painful, but it's part of the process, you got to take a step back and be willing to take that criticism and build on it instead of letting it tear you down and go, well, I'm just not doing this ever again. This is stupid.
Yeah.
Don't do that. That's the negative route and the easy route to take.
Yeah.
The artist would, or the writer, whatever.
Yeah, the creator.
They will build upon that. They'll go, well, I could have done this a little bit better, or maybe this world is a little too much for the average reader, or whatever it is, you know. And you also have to take a little bit of consideration that not everything you create is going to be for everybody.
No,
it's not,
and that's fine.
And you have to be okay with that.
That's fine,
because, for instance, I'm sure it would hurt the creators' feelings if I told them I don't care for Avatar.
Yeah.
It's just not my thing.
Right.
Don't really connect with Aang really at all.
But you know what? It's somebody's thing.
It's somebody's thing. There's a lot of people who like it.
That's the other part of it, is that if you like it, chances are other people will. You just have to keep creating.
You got to find your audience
until people find you.
Yeah.
You know? But let me circle back to the finishing a thing. It took us 3 years from start to finish to make the original edition of Realms of Elgrun.
Yep.
If me and you really put our thought into it now, we could make a game from beginning to end in about 4 to 6 months.
That we would be happy with.
That we would be very happy with. But it's because we learned what the process is.
Yeah.
And then we also learned how better to do it and to make it more efficient, how we make our things.
Yeah.
Yep. We can make an adventure in a month if we want to.
Yeah.
But it's because we finished one
stuff.
And we learned, okay, I can do this faster and I can do this better here. And then once you are done with that first project, the world opens up to you.
You've learned.
Yeah.
That's the key, is learn.
The world opens up to you so much more whenever you have finished a project and you are no longer intimidated to make something, because that intimidation's real. You know, whenever me and you first was making Realms, there was many a time that we was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if we should really. I don't really know. I don't know.
Dude, even after it got even worse, after we got attacked about the AI art thing, it was even harder to know what to do.
Yeah,
you know, dude, we talked. I don't know how many months we were just like, what do we do?
Yeah,
what the heck do we do?
Well, and that was during the time that we were just trying to learn how to be able to do all this ourselves, and we were at the whim of other people.
It was a big growing pain.
And to be honest with you, I look back at it now. And me a year and a half ago or a year ago would probably punch myself for saying this, but I'm glad that we went through it because of the learning process.
Me in the past would have knocked myself out for saying it was for my betterment, and yours too.
Oh yeah, but the thing is like what we learned from that is more valuable than the thing we created. Yeah, because now we can take it and move on to new things. You know, because like one of the things that we talked about earlier in the episode was that 20% of the player base is purchasing 80% of the content. Right. So me and you are sitting here coming up with ways to mitigate that.
Yeah.
And it's our ideas. Like, it's our ways of mitigating this. And there's things that we have in development that, you know, we don't like to talk about the stuff that we have in development until it's like nearly done,
Right.
because things change during the creative process so much, like absolutely drastically. But we're working on things that are new
Yeah.
to the sphere as a whole, because we see a gap in what's out there and how people are handling things.
Yeah.
And that only comes from the experience. And like I said, it's a blessing. It's not like lucky. It's not like we're great or anything, because we're not. We're just dudes and none of this matters.
Yeah.
But
it's fun.
It's fun. And so we see a gap that's like,
we could fill that gap.
We could absolutely fill that gap, and we know how.
Yeah.
And so we're just like working on it. And when we get done with this podcast, we're going to be workshopping some ideas for those projects.
Yeah.
Or that project, you know.
Yeah.
And maybe it'll come to light. Maybe it won't. You know, we may get like 75% of the way through this and realize this kind of sucks.
Hit a brick wall.
You know, there was a game that was making at one point in time called Inheritance. It was supposed to be a roguelike.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And then we got about 75% of the way through it, and we're just like, nope.
Yeah. The feeling wasn't there.
It just wasn't there no more. We were just like, it's not what it could be, because it's just not, if that makes any sense. Like, we can't really
If the energy and the vibe isn't there, and you hit a brick wall, that's where it's like, it's not really a brick wall. It's more of a solid stone wall. You're probably not drilling through that. You know, you need to probably find another route around it.
Yeah, and that's what this new project is.
Is us going around a mountain.
Is going around it and being like, let's back up, assess the thing, and decide how we can actually do this.
It's like, there's not a stone door here.
And it's
not
just
even a stone wall.
It's not even a roguelike anymore. It's not anything like what it was.
It's completely
different. It has hints, but not even. And that's the thing, is like, I know that's kind of counter to what we were saying earlier, just finish a project, but it can things can reach a point where you're like, okay, we have put ourselves into a hole, and we need to back up and assess it, and then figure out how we can make this better.
I wouldn't say it's counterintuitive.
It is, because in
a sense it is, but you definitely need to finish it. But I guess what I'm saying, why it's not really counterintuitive, is if you run into a situation to where it is a stone wall, don't double down and back yourself into a corner that you can't get out of.
Right. Back
away from it. Yeah. Realize there is no passage, and find another way around.
Yeah.
It's slightly counterintuitive, but it is a necessary part of the process.
But these things that we put into Inheritance are the building blocks of this next thing.
Yeah.
And for this is what we feel like very confident with. That this is going to be something. And it'll mitigate the GM problem.
Yeah.
I feel like. And if nobody plays it, guess what? I will. Because I want to.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make a game that I don't want to play.
True.
Because that's retarded.
Yeah, that's not fun.
Yeah, I'll just come out and say that's retarded.
Yeah, because that's not...
I'm not going to write an adventure that I don't want to play. I'm not going to write a game that I don't want to play.
Because it's not fun.
Yeah, I'm not going to make a piece of art that I don't want to look at. I'm not going to write a book that I don't want to read.
Yeah.
You know, so if it's like, if I'm writing this thing because I want to... there's nothing out here like what my idea is, then I'm going to make sure that I like it by the end of it.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to move on.
Right.
Because the things after are going to be better than the thing I just finished.
Yeah. You just got to constantly build and evolve.
Yeah.
That's just part of the process.
Yeah.
Wow. We've nearly talked an hour on just stuff.
Just being creative.
Which hopefully it'll help a lot of people.
Yeah.
In their creative process.
I hope we didn't talk too much in circles, because it kind of felt like I was there for a second, but still.
Well, I did. I'll admit I kind of talked in circles from like the past 2 episodes. So hopefully next time we'll just talk about something dumb, like is Mothman real? Asking the real questions out here.
Yeah.
Does he like the baked beans I left him? Is he a Bush fan, or is he a chili fan?
You never know.
Did he see Dale Earnhardt hit that wall?
Golly, bro.
I'm just saying. Did Mothman warn us before it happened? I don't know. I'm out here asking the real questions.
Nobody
dude.
knows.
No.
Everybody was watching the track.
Where everybody was on the track. No one had their eyes in the sky, baby. So where was Mothman?
Where
I'm
was
just
he at?
saying. Where was our harbinger of doom when we needed him the most? I mean, when COVID was here, y'all blamed the Chinese. Was it really Mothman?
Mothman was trying to.
Or was he trying to stop it? We don't know.
Don't know. I love that picture from COVID where it was like sightings of Mothman have returned. Nature is healing.
Or like
Dude, oh my
the one
God.
that got me was one. It was like the I'm gonna get the football name wrong, but it was the Texas Cowboys.
Yeah.
It is like they're roaming the streets again. Nature is healing. It is like a bunch of football players on horses. Oh man, thank you COVID for all your terrible memes.
Yeah, for real.
Anyway,
And for making everybody crazy.
guys, like this episode if you liked it. Comment down below if you want to comment. I read them sometimes. I'm not there a lot. I'm sorry. But we love y'all anyway. And thanks for listening. Hope you join us again next week for another round of nonsense. Yeah, just cut the thing, man. I love y'all. Bye. Dude, cut the thing.